Oh yeah, Dame Judi Dench as a nosy neighbor who keeps finding out her neighbors are having supernatural episodes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah,
Which
that's
is
interesting. I like how it's specifically Judy Dench.
that was just the first thing that popped up in my head. Is yeah, what do we get Judi Dench in here as a nosy neighbor?
Judy Dench. Okay, what's she looking like now? The Crypt Keeper?
She's getting close. Skyfall was a while ago.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
ago. A little bit
She
ago.
might be like straight up retired. We might have to call in Helen Mirren.
I mean, bro, she's 86 years old.
Oh
Oh
man,
gosh.
But that's yeah, pushing 90, bro.
yeah.
Oof.
Okay, yeah, I kind of like the idea of a rear window. There's a lot of angles you can hit with that because it's like it's the rear window. Your neighbors are up to something weird. What are they doing? You know, it's funny actually because I wanted to make a short kind of like this. Back in the day, what's his face? Tom Waits has a
Uh
song
huh.
called "What's He Building in There."
Uh huh.
And the whole thing, it's not really a song. It's just a spoken word thing of like this creepy, nosy neighbor who like is obsessed with his neighbor. And the whole thing is like, what's he building in there? He's like, I see it. You ordered a table saw. He's got a tire swing, but I don't see any children. What's he building in there? And so it's kind of this fun thing of like, who's creepier. But,
I just immediately think of Burn After Reading with his little invention.
oh,
Yep.
yeah, a little bit, right.
Immediately thought of
So you think, yeah, exactly right. It's going to make him $1 million.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty good in Coen Brothersy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a totally different energy, but
Mm.
another option. But no, I was just thinking like I like the idea of the there's something amiss or something creepy, what's going on. But it's actually kind of innocuous possibly. It's just that they're having, like you said, episodes.
Yep.
So it's not, something nefarious like she's assuming.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of it being like, did you guys read the Bailey School Kids books when you were younger? Uh, it was like Little Kid X Files, where it was these four kids, and it would be something like dragons don't make pizza or genies don't serve lunch or something like that,
Oh,
where it'd
okay.
be like they'd be having something that was like it might be supernatural, and you got like the one kid who's like, no, that shit's never gonna exist, and the other three who are like, but there might be a dragon making our pizza.
Even in X Files, that didn't make sense after a while. It was like, look, man, after the stuff you've seen, are you serious?
Yep. Season 7, and well, and that's what I like. I kind of like this as like a limited run thing where it is Helen Mirren or Judi Dench like being a nosy neighbor while stuff like is kind of alluded to in the background. Like one of her neighbors is like potentially a vampire. Like she goes and knocks on the door, and he's like buttoned up in a black bathrobe and everything, and like
Well, this could be something where it's like new person moves into Monster Town and doesn't realize it kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I
If
like
you want to
that a
kind of
lot.
go that route, And
Or
then,
you
yeah.
could the COVID angle of like you've been just you're always out of your home, just out doing stuff, working in the office, and now you're stuck at home, and now you notice all these weirdos that live around you.
Mm-hmm,
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, because I was even thinking like now it'd be one of the episodes, but the idea is like, yeah, what happens to like the neighbors of the person who's going through the haunting? It's like
Yeah.
the movie always takes place from the people in the haunted house, but it's like, yeah, what if you're the neighbor who's like, there is some weird crap going on next door. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
I like that a lot.
Oh, honey, we have new neighbors. I'll re-insulate the walls, drown out the screens. Hopefully,
Mhm.
The only thing I would say that's kind of tough about Judi Dench is that like I because this is almost taking like a kind of a hijinksy more angle. And she would be like perfect casting for if you want to do like a really dark, like this poor old lady who's
Yeah.
alone and scared. This is almost more like a Strangers Things thing where I'd kind of want to have like some like 40-year-old.
Rambunctious kids.
Yeah, like I would like a
Yeah.
38-year-old parents with like their teenage kids, kind of. Did you guys see the trailer for the new Ghostbusters?
No, I haven't.
no, I-
It's-
Not the most
Well,
recent one.
if you've seen the previous trailer, it's very similar, and ultimately what it feels like is kind of a Super 8 meets Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's fun.
Hmm.
that's a,
Even down to the music and stuff like that, it feels very like old Spielberg, which is
Okay.
also like a good way to shoot some new juice into the veins of that franchise. This
Yeah.
isn't a reboot; it's like officially the third episode.
Uh,
So it follows the grandchildren of Egon.
Mm-hmm.
And so so that like this what we're talking about is kind of making me think about that, where it's like there's menace, but you wouldn't call it much more than menace, potentially. But I mean, you could though. You could also be like, hey, what if we did a Goosebumps book that was R-rated? Like what if we do? It has some of the tropes that you would expect from something to be related to kids, but like it is this older lady and it is nightmarish.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like maybe the maybe the first half of this episode being like it implied that there's something going down, and then maybe we do the perspective shift, kind of like the that Halloween movie Trick or Treat, where it is they're all vignettes, but they do tie together like they're non-sequential, but if you put them together in a timeline, it would make sense front to back.
Yeah, okay.
And like that could be kind of a fun thing where like first half main character is this old woman who is like there's menace and hijinks going down with the haunting next door or in this apartment building, and then second half you get an injection of the people that the haunting is actually happening to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, and there's also like then in the last episode you can have it where it kind of all, or at the end of an episode even, it could all come together where it's like, oh, we all, you have information I don't have and you have information I don't have, so now together we can yeah, I guess we have to figure out some conflict is the thing.
This is true.
Because a lot of times if this was a Goosebumps book, it starts with basically the kids being like, I think that's a vampire, and everyone else saying they're not a vampire, and that's basically just the conflict.
Yeah. I could actually see the first scene of this show being kids knocking on this old woman's door and being like, hi, we're investigating suspicions of vampires in the area.
Well, it could be fun. It could be like, if this changes it a little bit, but like if kids knock on the door and Judi Dench is suffering from a haunting, and then they think that she's like a witch or something because there's magical crap going on in her house, but really she's a victim in the house. That's again, we never see anyone else interacting with somebody who's going through. They're always doing it by themselves, and it's like you think all the ghost.
This is true. You get some like, and you get the classic like people turning a blind eye toward the haunting that's going on in the house at that point. Like because that's what a lot of that's what a lot of the people end up being victims in those movies ends up being is a lot of people turning a blind eye. Like you are alone in your experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. But yeah, if you want to keep the nosy neighbor thing, I mean, you could also have this kind of like circle going on where it's like, or like rock, paper, scissors. It's like the kids think that she's a witch because she's actually being haunted and there's weird stuff going on. But then she's actually keeping an eye on maybe like there is a witch or something, that's like another house down. And
she thinks that the kids are pranking her. That's where this haunting's coming from.
Well, possibly. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, possibly. That kind of brings us into that. I think it's called like Summer of '84 or something like that.
Where if you want to do that shift of perspective, you could have like she isn't like an actual witch hunter or something like that, and then the kids are like wannabe YouTubers where they're like paranormal investigators going random nodding and just trying to like play up any little noise that they hear, and then she like actually knows what's going on.
Yeah, I love Judi Dench, the witch, the vampire hunter.
Yep.
Yes. Even better than Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Well, but again, retired vampire hunter though, True. It's like, yeah, a long time ago I used to do it. I can't do it anymore.
That's the big reveal at the end of the episode is that she's a retired vampire hunter.
Mm-hmm. That could be a lot of fun. And maybe that's where the nosiness thing pays off, where it's like, oh, she actually is, looking in because of that. Well, it'd be kind of, actually, okay, so here we go. I think this might be able to bring it back to Carrie's original idea. You've got Judi Dench as being like this weird nosy neighbor about this next door house or whatever that's being haunted. And we think she's just like this helpless lady who's just, being nosy. Come to find out, she actually is a retired, basically paranormal hunter, like think supernatural kind of situation. So she actually has a lot of this knowledge, but the capabilities fallen off because she's 86 goddamn years old. So these kids who fancy themselves as ghost hunters or something like that, have broken into the haunted house with like their cell phones trying to like live stream the event and stuff like that, but it's actually really fucked up. And so ultimately the kids end up needing Judy's help, because she's been paying attention to the house. She knows that the kids broke in. And she knows the kids are actually in some genuine danger. And so her expertise plus their wily young bodies, maybe gets them into the position where they can actually, I don't know, do some unsummoning ritual or something like that and stop the haunting.
I'd watch that.
I'm very into that. All right, let's.
So now we need. So who's getting haunted? Well, and that can still work with that other idea. Maybe again, because she's a hunter, she thinks maybe she's the one who has the misnomer, and in the beginning she thinks that there's like a witch or something that lives next door, and then it takes a minute for her to realize that, oh, that person's actually just being haunted right now. That's what's going on. There's a whole different Paranormal Activity movie happening next door that we're not privy to.
Yeah,
I like that,
because you could just frame her like, you have an older woman living in the house, you could just frame her as like the neighborhood Karen, and that's
yeah, right, yeah, in Act 1.
But yeah, she's just nosy and complains about everything.
And then you got these kids that are rambunctious and kind of up to no good, and they fancy themselves well, some of them do fancy themselves like ghost hunters. Obviously you want the Scully kid who's like, oh, there's no such thing as ghost. And something leads them into thinking that there's something weird going on in the neighborhood. Maybe they run into Judi Dench beforehand, maybe they don't. But maybe they do, and they like stumble into the basement and they find like artifacts that like show her being, a hunter of some sort. She's got like, silver crosses and holy water and blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And then she like catches them and scares them off. And so they're like, oh my God.
I like that.
But then when they start seeing like the really creepy stuff happening at the neighbor's house, maybe they think she is like doing something to them.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
So it kind of leads them into like, oh, we have to go save these people or something like that. So they go into that house, but it turns out that that house is just haunted. So now Judi Dench has to go and try to like save the day, but she doesn't really have it anymore. So that's why she's been reluctant to go interact.
I like the start of it being that Judi Dench is the nosy neighbor, and it's really played up that she is just like absolutely unhappy with the kids that are roaming around the neighborhood with their phones, and she's watching over the fence like the Tom Waits song that you were talking about. But we don't have any like entry into her being a former witch hunter. Then
I agree with that. That would happen later. Yeah.
And then stuff goes down at the house, like straight up either I'm halfway between it being like poltergeist activity or like it's straight up being Hellraiser, where there's some shit going down and the kids are like, we need to go check out what's going on in this house, and like the one scaredy cat kid runs away and ends up in Judi Dench's basement.
That's great.
Sees all that stuff, she kicks him out.
Yeah, I love that.
And then they are like refocus on her, thinking she's a witch or she's casting a spell or something.
Well, and maybe in his, while she's kicking him out, he is like, oh my God, my friends are trapped, blah, blah, blah. And he gives her enough information for her to realize what's actually happening over there. Because she thought it was like a witch trying to summon demons or something. She doesn't realize it's some poor innocent girl who opened up a puzzle box,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the idea of the artifact MacGuffin of Hellraiser, but with the threat level of Poltergeist.
I like that. I actually really do.
Not quite so dark and evil as like Hellraiser, but I like the idea that there was like a thing, like, you shouldn't have fucked with that.
Yeah, it feels kind of Cabin in the Woodsy in a good way.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Where all of those have like you'll die level threats, but there's definitely a different feeling to how they're kind of shown. Hellraiser is a lot darker. It's very much more like Event Horizon kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So who's this person, and how did they get a hold of this artifact, and how did they mess it all up? I mean, maybe the person's dead by the time the kids even show up. It's like you find out at the end, like the very last scene is like us doing like a flashback to like, oh, here's how they got here, here's what happened, kind of thing. I'm not married to that.
Shooting from the hip. What if it's a young couple who a weird relative dies and leaves them stuff, and they're going through the artifacts and they find it?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
It works.
Yeah, you could also do like maybe the people that are in the actual haunted house have some relationship to like the neighborhood kids. Like there's if you
Mm.
age the kids up just a little bit, like young teenagers, and maybe there was young couple moves into the house and they're also into like the paranormal scene, and maybe they like ordered a Dybbuk box on YouTube or some or from like eBay or something.
The dark web.
Yeah, like make a TikTok or whatever. Uh, and they opened it, and it was like a legit one where they released like a demon or something in the home.
Yeah. I like the idea that the kids know him, because then that can be kind of a thing where it's like, oh, I think that this old lady who moved in next door is doing something to these poor people or something like that. You know, these are our friends or whatever.
It adds some stakes for the kids.
Right. And a reason for them to go and get involved other than just sheer curiosity.
Yeah.
It does.
But I'm kind of with Carrie on something like, you know, it's like they have like or I'm sorry, Josh, like they've got I've been watching a lot of Venture Brothers lately. So I'm thinking about, you know, like this kind of uncle or something who was like off in the Amazon, and I found this, you know, voodoo blah 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 mask or whatever, and you know, check it out. I found a monkey's paw, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about like what hasn't been done to death but isn't completely ridiculous.
I'm kind of a sucker for the young couple with the kid, like the slightly outsider kid, and the kid's the one that was like given this box from the uncle and is kind of fucking around with it and ends up kind of unleashing it on the house,
Yeah,
like and
I can
then
get
like
that.
kind of being absorbed into the gang Scooby-Doo style.
Well, that goes with what Will was saying too. So like maybe they actually are into like paranormal stuff, but you know they're just as much greenhorns as the kids are. No one involved is like, except for Judi Dench, is like the real deal and has actually interacted with some real deal stuff, right? So the kid gets kind of his imagination, you know, set on fire from these neighbor people, and he ends up being the one who acquires something weird in a gift or some kind of Sirius Black sent him something or whatever. So then he ends up, he's like you said, so that's even better with the connection thing, because now he feels really responsible because it was literally his fault that this, like, you know, he went to their house and they did the thing they're supposed to do and they said the magic words and it seemed like nothing happened, but then all of a sudden a lot started happening.
Yep.
And then
heard you Gen Xers like slasher movies and Fangoria. I found this really cool creepy thing that my uncle gave me.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Unleash hell.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and maybe even that kid is trapped, and so then our hero kids are the kids who have to go and save their friend as well.
I like that.
Like maybe they're not even all homies with the people. It's just the one, you know, like you said, the weird kid who's too into horror movies. And so he's trapped with these neighbor people. The Judi Dench thinks that maybe they're gonna like eat him or something like that. You know.
Oh yeah.
So you know, it'd be great too when the kids get in there, that like you said, one of the kids runs away, escapes. The kid who initially was trapped is the one who gets out. So they're like, they all swap. And it's like, oh crap, well, we got him out, but now we're all stuck. You know? So he makes it out, runs to Judi Dench. You know, she's like, hey, get out of here. Oh, because he's like sneaking through her basement or whatever, right? As he's trying to get through whatever.
And absolutely has a panic attack because he's seeing like the same shit that he was just fucking with.
Exactly right, but way cooler and a lot more of it. And then so what happens is, you know, she finds him, and for the audience this is a scary moment because it's like, oh no, the neighbor's a vampire. We realize no, she's actually a vampire hunter. That's why she has all this crap. And you know, she's kicking him out, but then as he's explaining what's going on, like it dawns on her. So she does kick him out, but then she kind of mulls with it and is like, oh, now I kind of get what happened next door. They need my help. And that could even be fun too, her hooking up with that kid again, you know, to be like, okay, so let's both go into this place and kind of go deal with this. And then that's kind of like your big third act, is just a huge like action, you know, like crazy.
like 20 minutes of like, I'm gonna read from the book, you take the silver sword of mirrors.
Exactly. And right, all your friends have to stand in a pentagram shape and they gotta, you know, do this enchantment. Like, yeah, exactly right. As there's Ghost, you know, like throwing everything off the walls and stuff like that.
That's fun.
Yeah, that can totally be fun. I like the idea too that like if it opened up like a portal, then now you can mess with all kinds of like, oh crap, this came through the portal, and now this came through the portal, and now this, you know, it's like, oh no, demon dogs. And you could even What's
I
that?
kind of like that juxtaposition because then you can have the kids doing like all of the like things that have kind of become mainstream with the ghost hunting shows and
Hmm.
like the amateur ghost hunters on YouTube and
Yeah,
like ghost adventures where you have all of the like fancy technology that just like makes noise and doesn't really do anything. And
spirit
for
boxes and stuff like that.
Come at me, ghost.
Yeah, yeah. Come at me.
and then you have
This is
like
my bridge, goat man.
has like all of the old school stuff like a Necronomicon and the book a Ring of Solomon
You're
and
totally right. That would be fun. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, Judi Dench brings all the like 17th century stuff, and then the kids have all the like spirit boxes and annoying crap like that. Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be so fun.
That actually is pretty fun. I like that a lot.
Like
Yeah.
actually getting that sensor from the first Ghostbusters that was like an electric shoe polisher that they just dressed up. It's like,
Yeah. Exactly. That
okay.
kind of stuff, right? Except that there are a lot of them because there are guys who think that they're real ghost hunters, and so like you don't even have to like make stuff up. You can literally like just grab stuff that those guys do use. You know, what's his face, Zach Baggins or whatever with his show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a bunch of those kinds of things, but they all think they work.
like, a distortion pedal to a speaker.
Yeah. Well, spirit boxes are loud as heck. Like it's a I think that's what it's called. It's like this box that will play it.
Which makes the white noise.
Yeah, so it's white noise, but it's like from the radio, and it switches channels really quickly. And so the idea is that if you hear a full sentence in words, then the odds that you hit the right channels to make those sentences is like impossible. But man, people pull some like major like 23 Enigma stuff to try to make it be like, no, he said something to me here. Don't you hear that? He kind of said, he said, help me, I'm dying. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, I guess you gotta, so now we just gotta start working through. Well, okay, actually at the end, I guess we kind of did figure out the end is like they have to do this basically ritual to like close the portal. You know, she gets in there. You fool. Oh, maybe that could be the thing too. The kid, like, she's not buying it until the kid says something very specific that she goes, oh, that's a portal of Abraxas or something like that. I know what this is. He wouldn't have just known about that. You know, that actually had to have happened. God damn it. Okay, I'll help you.
Absolutely.
Nonsense, and then just like repeat something that he heard, and just like ding. Oh, that's a cool thing.
Exactly.
Just like that's all made up stuff. But...
Yeah, and you wouldn't know if it wasn't actually happening, you know. So that's the thing that sets her off. So then they go. Luckily, because she knows what the thing is, she knows how to, you know, close the portal. Like I said, this is very Goosebumps. Like I could totally imagine reading this right now. And then yeah, like the kids have to kind of ward off, you know. So how many people lived in the house already? I'm starting to think maybe it's just like one comic book owner guy. I'm sorry, I mean that dude from like The Simpsons. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just kind of this. He's kind of like an older version of that kid, you know, and that's why they get along. It's like I was just like you when I was your age, you know.
Could dig that, like him and his wife, or just him, and like.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, are we doing? Do we want to have more people that are there?
I like that just for the just for having a couple people in the house that are like, okay, yeah, the neighborhood kid wants to come over, and like, yeah, and they're like maybe just a little bit older. Like I know that back when I was a little kid, like there was this couple that was in their early 20s that you know, they'd come over and babysit, and they were the people that were like, horror movie, and I was like 9, like rock and roll, let's do it.
Okay, fine,
so
yeah. All right, yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, so it could just be like a dude and his wife. Well, I mean, honestly, too, there's a really easy place to add some tension. Is like there's a newborn baby. That's like a really easy place to. You know, it's like, oh,
there you go.
Have you checked in on the children? You know, kind of thing. Well, and
in the house, like you also just get people that you can just have disappear mysteriously.
Well, we're gonna have the kids though too, so that's what I was thinking. I was like, you know, I don't want this to end up being like 20 people. I mean, maybe, but if you have a group of like, I don't know what, 4 friends, and then you've got the couple and their baby, and they got Judi Dench, then you have one of the 4 kids breaks off to go with the couple. Now there's kind of 4 people in that house. Portal thing opens up. They have problems. The other 3 kids then hop in to go save the kid. through some kind of, we're gonna have to figure that part out, by the way, but
Mhm.
through some reasoning, they end up getting a situation together where the one kid actually gets out, but then everyone else is stuck. And that kid runs over to the neighbor. And this kind of works because what if the kids, I think we talked about it before and kind of dropped it, but what if we bring back the idea that the kids were already aware of Judi Dench and they were kind of creeped out by her? They thought she was like a vampire or something.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the thing that makes them go like, look, I'll take my odds, like maybe she's bad, but maybe she knows something. Maybe she can help with something. Even vampires don't want the world to end through a portal to hell, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so that's what ends up getting, or maybe he thinks like, oh, I'll bet they have something like in, she probably has like artifacts or something that could help us with this.
Mhm.
So that's why he's like scrounging around in the basement, dropping things, trying to see if he can find something that will help with the situation, a sort of whatever.
Mhm.
And then
Where,
together, those two end up heading back into the house, and then everything gets resolved. What's up?
or you can even have it where like the neighbor makes just like a joke about her being like some crazy old witch person or something, and that
Yeah, I'm into that.
that in his head.
Yeah, no, I'm totally into that. Well, and even the friends could be like, no, she's not. She's just an old lady. Leave her alone. But because the neighbor made like some offhanded joke. I mean, this kind of happened. There was a movie about this. Crap, I can't remember what it's called. There was a movie where what happens is like this kid misinterprets things adults are saying that he doesn't really understand and assumes that this woman is a vampire the whole movie. So he's like really worried that this vampire is like, killing these people or whatever. And like, for instance, he asked her how old she is or something. She's like, oh, I'm ancient, just as like a turn of phrase, but he's like, oh my God, like this 9-year-old boy kind of thing. So I can imagine something kind of like that. That'd be pretty interesting.
Like Fright Night a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting I'm getting massive Fright Night vibes right now.
So
For
Fright
sure.
Night's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ends up being real, right? Yeah, for sure.
We'll swap
kinda
out Judi Dench for Alice Cooper and
or Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's not quite the opposite though. It's just that they were wrong about what the thing is. Like there is something going on with her. She isn't just a regular person. So yeah, I'm into that. So let's think. Let's kind of take it, scene for scene now. So, opening. What do you guys got?
Opening, I was really thinking like this is where we start with the basic premise of it is like an almost uncut morning of very obviously retired Judi Dench, kind of like the first scene in Red with Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like it is very obviously retiree time.
Yeah.
And it looks like she's just snooping to be a punk. Like she's got a notebook and she's writing down like punk kids doing this. And it looks like she's being a real pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the background, like I was thinking just a little bit campy, like the when she turns away, like you see a couple like flashes and everything. Or like, like something that like is pretty obviously evil in the background when she turns away and then she like turns back, there's nothing there, and then she kind of like hears a tumble down her stairs after like 10 minutes of this total thing, and then we kind of cut back. I was thinking for the second scene
down her own stairs.
Yeah, well she would hear like somebody going into her storm cellar essentially.
Oh, see, okay, I mean we can do that. I'm imagining this happening way later.
Hit it then.
So I guess just like act breaks instead of scene breaks. I'm kind of imagining it's like we start off with every day was blah 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 until suddenly everything changed, right? So it's like we're kind of just establishing like these are the kids, this is a relationship with the kids, they're all homies, but only one of them is kind of like the horror nerd or whatever who's kind of into like the Necronomicon and my favorite movie is The Evil Dead and stuff like that, right? Turns out neighbor people are very similar. Maybe they babysit him. I mean, it could be that easy, right? And maybe they kind of helped get him into this stuff, right? So he ends up, and then Judi Dench is really nosy and she's like keeping all these notes and stuff. We find out later it's because she's actually concerned about what's happening at the next door. She thinks maybe they're witches who are going to eat the kid, like evil babysitters. But she also is keeping notes of the kids, not actually against the kids, because she's worried about the kids. So she's trying to keep track of like how many kids are there and where are they at times and stuff. So then what happens is like the middle of our movie, you end up having the kid acquired the thing, and like we said, I mean it could be something as simple as like, hey look, I bought this thing on the internet or whatever, let's check it out, and like, oh cool, this is badass, that's a cool replica you have. oh crap, it's not a replica. We end up opening a portal to hell. It makes your nightmares come real or something like that, which could be really fun for the kids because then they could have stupid nightmares, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I like the idea of like the older couple kind of screwing with it, like, what movie is this from? Like, we
Yeah.
haven't actually seen this, and then you know, oh no, nightmares. You know,
Or if it is actually something from a property, but they think it's a replica, like literally is a puzzle box or something.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they end up doing the thing. The lights start flickering. Everything goes crazy. You know, obviously you have the fake out moment where it's like, oh, it seems like nothing happened. Okay, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And everything starts happening. When everything starts happening, that makes Judi Dench notice through the window because she's staring all the time that like, oh my God, those witches are going to eat that fucking kid. You know, this is a problem. Or at minimum, I need more intel. I can't go fight them because I'm 86 goddamn years old. And so the, what do you call it? The three friends get worried about their homie, so they go try to check it out. They end up making it in, but the house is kind of a once you get in, you can't get back out situation. We still have to figure out something weird that happens that allows for one of the kids to get out. And like I said, I like the idea that it's the original kid. Now he has to go back and save his friends.
Yeah.
So he makes it out. He's thinking, who can help me? Who can help me? No one's going to believe me. Oh, the lady who we already thought was creepy, who we would have to establish in Act 1. And I mean, maybe it's as simple as they notice her always staring at them through the window. And it's like, oh, yeah, she's a witch or something. Or even in Act 2, when he goes to hang out with those guys, they're like, oh, yeah, the creepy next door lady. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. She's probably a witch or something.
Yeah.
Or a vampire. So he goes to the house, looks through the basement because he's trying to find, you know, maybe that's how he gets in, is like through the basement or something, through a basement window, and then stumbles upon all of these artifacts and stuff that she had through her travels. We have a cat scare where she shows up and it's like, oh no, she's gonna eat me, and it's like, no, it's not like that, you just need to get the heck out of my house. And then he explains the conundrum they're in. She realizes, oh my God, that's what's happening, they're not actually bad. Both of them go back together into the house. They do the unsummoning ritual. Everything's good. So those are kind of my like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 ideas, but I'm not married to any of that.
I really like that structure, actually.
Okay, I'm into it. I'm into it.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah.
Kids, like the other thing you could do with one person getting out is like they could split up when they get, like they break into the house and they split up. Maybe one goes to the basement and one goes to like a room in the back, and then another goes up to like the second story, and then he can escape because like there's just an open window and he like jumps out into her bushes, into the neighbor's bushes, and then crawls in through the like window or something.
We would just want it not to be something that everyone else could duplicate is the thing. You know, I'm kind of almost imagining like, is there some kind of thing he could be doing that would make the house like expel him or something? You know,
maybe he could use his horror movie knowledge to do something to get himself out of there.
That's fair too. Yeah, totally. Oh, something even like, I don't know if I'm married to the baby thing, because that that could be really dark.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that also like the baby could be a way him and the baby get out or something. What's up?
Yeah, you can also kind of get in the way narrative. Actually, you know, you could even use the baby as like a reason why the couple and the kids are talking. Maybe the kids babysit for them. Like,
oh, maybe it's the other way. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, instead they babysit the kid babysits the baby. I like that. And like I said, there's easy, because babies just sit around, so it's not like the baby has to be like a super, you know, plot inconvenience. You just kind of have to figure out what's happening with the baby. And for most of the movie, it's probably just the mom holding the baby. But I do like the idea of like, you know, at one point it's like, have you checked on the children kind of thing. You know, you go in, the crib is empty kind of situation. Oh my God.
That comes through on their bullshit spirit box. You said that earlier. And
yeah.
That's the thing that comes through in the spirit box and some jumbled words.
Like that. Yeah, that'd actually be kind of creepy.
That'd be a good like heart attack movie.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up. Yeah. I actually really like that. Yeah. Well, and that'd be fun, like you said. Maybe because the adult has money, maybe he's the one who has the gear instead of the kids. The kid knows about the gear, you know, and he knows how to use it and stuff because he watches YouTube videos all the time, but he can't afford to buy those things. The guy actually happens to have that gear. So when things weird start happening and they can't get out of the house, we could do something like, you know, every time you open a door, it's just into another room kind of thing.
Oh yeah, straight up like just looping back into the room.
Yeah, so it's not that the doors won't open, it's that you open the front door and it just opens into the bedroom, you know, and then like
actually what you could do, what I see with the like you get like the spirit box where the voice comes through, like, have you checked on the baby or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the wife like jumps up and runs to go check on the baby, Everybody else is like, what? And like waits like a couple of seconds and then goes after her. And they get to the baby's room. The baby's fine, but the wife is just gone.
Oh, that's good. I like that too. I'm into that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so actually I have an idea to go with kind of what Josh was saying. What if the kid gets out because that portal door thing is happening? But like you said, he's got kind of this mind of a child, and he's like, well, what if I go in backwards and it works? But then
good.
But then he can't get the information to anyone else because they're all still trapped in the house, you know? And
yeah.
And so
get back in.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, oh, I'll back into the door and it actually just lets him right out or whatever. Or he like knows that, okay, if I open the front door, that takes me to the bedroom. So if I go to the bedroom door and I walk backwards, that'll like kick me out of the front of the house or whatever.
That works.
I love that type of like non-logical thinking.
Yeah, like a child would come up with, you know, like you said, because he's like, I've seen horror movies, I know what's up, you know. And it's like, you want to be like, look, this is real. This doesn't work like that. And it's like, God damn it, he's right.
No, it has to not make sense. And then he's out the front door.
It breaks its brain.
Yeah.
Well, and I like the idea too. It would be during like a time when they ended up getting separated, so like no one else, you know, could just duplicate what he did. It's like, for whatever reason, Chaz is gone, and it's they think, oh, the house ate him, you know.
But he's escaped.
Well, and we could have people disappearing, and then at the end you realize it's just kind of like they were stuck in like oubliettes or something like that. And by the end, everyone kind of comes back from the portals, because again, you can keep the stakes; they don't have to be at a 10, you know. It's
yeah.
Like, true. But there still could be plenty of menace in it being creepy.
Yeah.
And then I think, like you said, you know, when Judi Dench comes back, she maybe helps that, like maybe there's one kind of antagonistic figure, like there's like a demon dog or something like that they keep having to try to avoid. And maybe they have to use like the room portal thing to try to keep away from it or whatever. So when she comes in, she actually helps them like slay the demon dog. And then they have to try to put together this like portal, or I'm sorry, this ritual, like a seance kind of thing. And while they're trying to do it, you have to like, you know, the house is like shaking and the books are flying off the, you know, walls and stuff like that. And I don't know, you need like some big thing they have to overcome to be able to pull it off. I don't know exactly.
Could possess the husband. Like I see the oubliette thing being like, all right, the husband's become the conduit, and then each of the people in the house has been trapped in a room, and like the idea is that they're each going to be marched out one by one and then sacrificed. And the more that, like,
and then this demon will come back or something and reign for 1,000 years. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Then this guy can come back onto the plane.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm super into that.
I also like the idea that Judi Dench is like nothing. It's like nothing I haven't dealt with before. Come on.
Well, but the only thing I have with that is I think that I don't know if I want everyone possessed, because I was thinking it's a good kind of like Justice League moment to have, like, okay, everyone has their little role to play, right? So you have to stand there, you have to say this incantation, you have to blah blah blah. You know, back in her day, she had a team of hunters that they all used to work together, and she's the last one. And so this kind of helps them piece together, and then it can be kind of a fun thing of like, ooh, these kids now are kind of like, you know, the thing, right? They're the new Power Rangers, but the husband gets possessed. I really like that, and I think that could be that moment where it's like, it would have been easy, except that the husband went evil and he's trying to, you know, stop everyone. And the wife has to have this big emotional moment of like, no, honey, you're in there, Bucky. You know, it's like, you're not the Winter Soldier. You're my, you know, I love you. Either the wife or the little kid. You know, you're my friend. It's like, no, you don't have to be like this kind of thing. And so, you know, fight against the darkness. So and that's our like, okay, he did it, it's good, you know, boom, the ritual's over. You know, the demon thing is like, no.
Yeah, have that full conjuring exorcism thing. Like
I think so.
And I like that he's the only one that is possessed. Like the rest of them do have, like they're entrapped with him. Right. And experiencing something, but like he's the main threat.
Well, and maybe we realized that over points, he didn't seem possessed until the end, when it was kind of like, okay, the only way to stop these people now is to be like aggressive. But we realized that he's been actually sabotaging stuff, you know.
Love that.
Yeah, maybe it got a hold of him early and it just wasn't obvious the whole time.
That's a cool twist. I like that.
Maybe even like one of the kids finds one of the other kids or something like that they thought got like, lost, to time or something like that. But he's literally just tied up in a closet. And I'm like, wait a second. The ghosts are getting kind of unimaginative. What's going on?
This is getting a little bit weird.
Yeah. Ghosts just tie you up and leave you in closets now. And it's like, oh crap, it was the guy.
It was
or
Matt.
Yeah, you could also do it where he was a cultist the whole time, and this was like his long game. And
So
Judi Dench is his neighbor.
that actually would be really funny. That would like undo everything we just were telling you. Like, no, she was right. There actually was just a bad guy next door. The only problem with that is I don't know how to like overcome that at the end. It's like so far this movie's been kind of like PG, maybe 13. And so like aside from killing the cultist, it's like, what do you
Yeah, Judi Dench just pulling out a crossbow at the end and shooting a guy in the chest.
right, with a baby.
Obviously not going to keep that PG rating.
I mean, it's possible. Like, I mean, we could have from the beginning. We could have decided just to go super hardcore on this one too, and that could have been interesting also.
Well, you could go hardcore at the camp, but I do kind of like the idea that like Judi Dench is kind of old school, where she's like, no, the only way that we can get rid of this is you have to behead him and burn him.
Actually, I love that. So even if we go with the idea that he's just temporarily possessed, you could have the wife trying to break through to the husband, and then the kid trying to break through to Judi Dench.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, we have to kill him. She has her crossbow, whatever, a silver tip crossbow. There's nothing you can do. It's too late for him. He has to die. No, let me get through to him. Like, he's a good man. I promise, So then she even grows and learns something, because that's the thing too. You don't want any of the characters to be like perfect. If she's Mary Poppins and just shows up and fixes everything, it's kind of like, oh, well, that was easy. Like, just know that person. That's the answer to all your problems. But it's like, no, even she was coming at it from the wrong angle, and she got to learn something, and her heart grew 3.5 sizes that day. And then maybe from then on, maybe she's even like babysitting or something like that. She kind of gets like more ingrained in the community and stuff like that.
I like that.
Yeah,
Some good character development. I dig it.
Yeah, this little 3-house cul-de-sac somewhere in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Exactly, right here. I live in one of those right now. Yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, somewhere in the Midwest, maybe. It's like takes place in autumn. There's like orange leaves on the ground and stuff like that. It's very hocus pocus.
Suburban. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely imagining this.
It's been Bette Midler, actually. Judi Dench is too old. We made it. We have to make it Bette Midler.
I mean, honestly, bro, Bette Midler is probably not much younger. Hocus Pocus was like 30 years ago.
This is true.
But I mean, yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker isn't that. She's only in her 50s, I think, or something like that. So
that's true.
That's what's getting crazy is that like the go-to older ladies now, or just people in general, like it's people who don't seem. But yeah, like Sarah Jessica Parker could be playing like the witch lady now because she's old enough. It's so crazy.
Or like, if you do want to keep things a little more lighthearted, like you could go with like a Betty White.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that would definitely. If I was going for more comedy, for sure, this wouldn't be devoid of comedy, I don't think. But like Betty White would definitely be like if you were doing like a 21 Jump Street kind of comedy thing.
Yeah,
especially if you go the darker route, having like White in that role where like she's like, oh yeah, we just have to kill him. He's gone.
It would be so funny to see her deadpan like that. Yeah, like just super dry.
You can. There's some stuff where she's done like really deadpan humor like that. Another funny one would be like Julie Andrews. Like I'm actually thinking now of getting like all of these people in a movie.
Yeah.
It would be so fun to get all. I wish like what was her name? Jessica Lansbury. I don't think she's around anymore, but that would have been great.
Yeah, Angela Lansbury.
Yeah. Get everybody who has like bed knobs and broomsticks and the Hocus Pocus, like Bette Midler, and get like, Mary Poppins, and like that'd be so fun. That could even be fun if that was like a witch coven.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be so awesome. But yeah, I think Angela Lansbury would have been like 120 years old by now.
Yeah, thereabouts.
But I mean, yeah, I think we got most of the important beats. Oh, never mind. Angela Lansbury is alive, and she is 95 years old.
Dang. Go Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Dude, that's what's up. Honestly, she don't look all that much different.
Love it.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. How funny. Yeah. All
It's
right.
not. It's not like we've seen Lance Henriksen get older between Aliens and now. Like,
Right.
dude is old now.
Yeah.
But
the earliest stuff that we know her from, she was already playing grandmothers.
This is true.
Murder She Wrote and stuff like that. So that's the thing. We didn't really watch her. There's stuff from when she was younger, but it's like my. I mean, she's old enough to be my parents' parents. So it's like, yeah. All right, cool. So, I mean, yeah, I don't. Other than basically knocking out dialogue, I think we kind of got it.
I dig that.
I'd watch
I dig it a lot.
About 45 minutes, I think that worked. Okay, so we kind of made a movie.
Mhm.
But I'm all right with that.
Made for TV movie.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
yes, we
Yes.
did. It's gonna play on Disney Channel, Disney
A whole
Plus
lot
now.
of episodes there. You want to, like,
What was that, Will?
have like a I totally forgot where you have things in the same universe, but just kind
Like
of
an anthology?
that's the one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
No,
This is gonna.
it wouldn't be our first.
No,
No.
this is going to be on Disney Plus, the trauma category. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be like mostly PG, but just like absolutely gratuitous. Like we were talking about Kingsman, just the heads exploding at the end. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on our descriptions, it sounded like it was PG, but it's like just hard R for like just no reason. I thought you were going for like Asylum because it's gonna be all like
Yeah.
rip off.
just raining blood, like the end of the Evil Dead remake. Just like, ah.
Oh yeah, what do we call it? My neighbor is a vampire. No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I feel like a campy name like that might work real well.
Mhm.
What do you
I
got,
got it.
Josh? What do
The
you got?
Haunting Next Door. Instead of
That's-
The Girl Next Door, The Haunting Next
Mhm.
Door.
Well, and then also The Haunting is a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 movies, so it's kind of both of those. Yeah, no, I like that because it also is the idea that we talked about. Is like what would happen if someone else was getting haunted? Like,
Yeah.
literally, it's The Haunting Next Door. I'm super into that. I actually think we have like a pretty strong first act too. Like, I'm kind of happy with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the third act is a little bit treaded territory. We've kind of seen Conjuring movies and stuff, kind of
This is,
how that
yeah,
goes.
that's true.
But I actually really like that first act a lot of like,
Mhm.
establishing that like, ooh, she's like bad or creepy or something, whatever. And then
Mhm.
realizing that, oh no, there's actually, she was here
She's
for a whole
there.
different reason. That's not obvious right off the first, right off the cuff. And that reveal in the second act or probably the third act break of having the kid go in the basement and find all the stuff or whatever, I think is actually pretty cool too.
Yeah, man. Super fun.
So cool, man. All right. Well, that's another one in the books, man. So yeah.
We got
Perfect.
it.
Rejected Pilots and The Haunting Next Door.
The Haunting,
Haunting
Next Door.
Or like a next door haunting or something like that, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, brought to you by Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The Haunted Cul-de-sac.
Yeah, that sounds like a Goosebumps title. The
Yeah,
Haunted Cul-de-sac.
The Haunted Cul-de-sac or the Cult of the Cul-de-sac. Like,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The cul-de-sac
it.
of Ghost. Yeah, exactly, 100%, totally. All right, cool. All right, well, love you everybody, and bye.
Yeah.
See you later.